We're being had. We're being had by some very powerful secret societies that control our very life. Everything we see, everything we hear, our food is dominated by them. They're putting chemicals in our food. They're killing our people. They're beating people up in the street. They don't really care. These are fascists. They don't care a thing about you or anybody else. They have only one thing in mind, and that is the direct control over the human race. It's called the New World Order.
This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen, you can see the firemen, police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the two towers. A huge explosion, a huge explosion, a huge explosion, a explosion now.
This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen, you can see the firemen, police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the two towers. A huge explosion, a huge explosion,
The entire building has just collapsed, as if a demolition team set off. When you see the old demolitions of these old buildings, it folded down on itself. And
we have no idea what caused this. If you wish to bring anybody who's ever watched a building being demolished on purpose knows that if you're going to do this, you have to get at the under infrastructure of a building and bring it down.
It was like if they had detonated. They were planned to take down a building. Boom, 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 boom.
As we were getting our gear on and making our way to the stairway, there was a heavy-duty explosion.
To get some of the people out, then there was secondary explosions.
Do you know if it was an explosion or if it was a building collapse?
to me, it sounded like an explosion.
Like it sounded like gunfire, you know, bang, 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 and then all of a sudden 3 big explosions.
Top floors collapsed down. I saw it blow.
I'm about a block away, and there were several people that were hanging out the windows right below where the plane crashed, when suddenly you saw the top of the building start to shake, and people began leaping from the windows in the north side of the building. You saw 2 people at first plummet, and then a third one, and then the entire top of the building just blew up, and splinters of debris are falling on the street.
We just saw that as well. The second tower, the only one that was standing, tower number 1, just we saw some kind of explosion, a lot of smoke come out of the top of the tower, and then it collapsed down onto the streets below.
We have a long history of successful steel construction in this country and in fact the world. And one of the great successes is that under normal fire conditions, we don't have building collapse. In fact, until 9/11, I was unaware of any protected steel structure that had collapsed anywhere in the world.
The building was designed to have a fully loaded 707 crash into it. That was the largest plane at the time. I believe that the building probably could sustain multiple impacts of jetliners because this structure is like the mosquito netting on your screen door, this intense grid, and the jet plane is just a pencil puncturing that screen netting. It really does nothing.
We're being had. We're being had by some very powerful secret societies that control our very life. Everything we see, everything we hear, our food is dominated by them. They're putting chemicals in our food. They're killing our people. They're beating people up in the street. They don't really care. These are fascists. They don't care a thing about you or anybody else. They have only one thing in mind, and that is the direct control over the human race. It's called the New World Order.
I got an eyewitness who said there was an explosion on floor 7-8. 7-8. We've just had another explosion.
Warren Street because of the secondary explosion. We've got numerous people covered with dust from the secondary explosion.
And we got another explosion on the tower, 1013. There 1-2 has had a major explosion and what appears to be a complete collapse surrounding the entire area. Who's involved in the secondary explosion at Tower 1?
Moments ago, I spoke to the chief of safety for the New York City Fire Department. He received word of the possibility of a secondary device, that is another bomb going off, but he said that there was another explosion which took place, and then an hour after the first hit here, there was another explosion.
It's all orchestrated, and it's going to be more terrorism because the easiest way to get the American people to not just beg for martial law, but demand it of their official. When they're scared enough, they'll give up everything to be made safe.
Gone, man. Back live, we have had little relief here. Take a look at this. About an hour ago, World Trade Center building number 7 collapsed. A 42-story building. No word of any casualties in the building. It was the one calamity that was not a surprise.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. I said, you know, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
This is even clearer with regard to building number 7, which wasn't hit by any airplane. And yet it came down about 5:30 that afternoon. Its collapse remains so impossible to explain, except as controlled demolition, that the 9/11 Commission report did not even mention it, as if the collapse of a 47-story building was not worthy of comment.